What's up with y'all? TriumphantlyKJ here, back with another video for you guys. And today, as you can tell by the title, I am doing another video for my growing up series. And yes, it's true. I do have a learning disability. Now let me just get this out the way. I'm not dyslexic. I don't have ADHD. I probably don't have anything that you're thinking of right now. My learning disability, as I'm aware of, does not have a name. My learning disability consists with reading comprehension. I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time with math. I have a hard time with grasping things and letting it click in my head and stay in my head. And I also have a hard time focusing and stuff like that. Some of the opportunities I get because I have an IEP and a learning disability, I have no idea what an IEP stands for. I'm assuming it stands for intellectual educational program or problem. I don't know. You can look it up yourself. I don't really give a fuck. But as for that, some of the opportunities I get is I don't get all the opportunities that some people get, but I get to take my test elsewhere in a separate location. I also get more time, and it's a quiet, reduced room, so less distraction. And I also, when I was younger, I also got my test read to me, which I hated. So I'm not gonna tell you everything that I've experienced with my learning disability, but I'm gonna like just mention the big things that I've dealt with that really impacted my life. So kindergarten, it was easy breezy. The only thing I remember from that time period is going through speech classes. I'll tell you more about that when I get into these videos more, because I had to go through speech classes. I had a hard time speaking. Um, First grade is when it got real difficult. I remember one time, not even one time, just probably like a good half of the year, my class would split up into two groups to read some books, and one group was with the kids that they understood what they were reading and they didn't really need much help. The other group, they didn't understand what they were reading. They read slow and they needed a lot more help. And I was in that group, and the whole time I just felt like really bad about myself. I felt slow. I felt dumb. I felt like I shouldn't even have been belonged in school. So that was that. Second, third, there was nothing too bad about that. I really liked those classes. I mean, I loved my classes. I hated school though. I never fucked with school. I hated school, but I also hated missing school, if you know what I mean. Fourth grade, I'm not sure whether my teacher just liked me or she just treated me different because I had a learning disability, but I remember her using an overhead. If you don't know what an overhead is, it's just like a machine where the work that the teacher is teaching you from projects onto the screen so that everybody could, see, whether it's a chalkboard, a regular wall, something. And she was using that at the time, and I used that all throughout my school years, even in college. But she was using that, and she'd have the classmates. Well, she'd have her students like put the answers down on the thing. She'd have them get up and come write this, answer down. And for me, every time she'd ask me, she'd tell me to come sit on her lap. Now I don't know. I don't know about all that. I don't know if it was because of my learning disability or because of the fact that she was feeling the nigga. But I don't know why you feeling a little fourth grader, and you probably like 70 years old. 'Cause she was a tad bit old. She was the oldest teacher I've ever had. But well, I don't even know. She looked old, but some people just don't age right. But anyway, so that was that. That was fourth grade. Fifth and sixth grade, I had the same teacher for 2 years. So for those 2 years, so those were by far the most roughest. Since I have a learning disability, I got to go to this class called Resource, in which there would be other few students, maybe like two or three, not that many. And the teacher that was in charge of that, she would help us with our work. She'd help read things to us, just help us, catch up and stuff, even get ahead, because I remember falling behind on some things, not purposely, because like I've never, like, I always handed my work in on time, but just like I don't know. But I remember, especially in fifth and sixth grade, She'd always have to take me out to work on some things out of the classroom setting and go into this different classroom. And the classrooms the resource classrooms would be so small compared to a regular classroom, which really pissed me off as well. So it was like, it was obviously you were different. She would do that, and like, one of the things I hated the most, she would pull me out of the classroom and nobody else would be working on work. There was one time she wanted to take me out the classroom to work on something while the class was watching a movie. Why would I turn down a movie to go work on some work? You know, that's just some bullshit. Like, that's not fair to me. And you know, in my school we had cubby areas, and every single time this woman would show up, I would hide in the cubby area and take forever in the day to grab my shit to go with her. Like, I'd make sure I took up so much time so that I wouldn't even have to go. But eventually I would have to, because she would, like, there was some instances where she would come back and tell me, like, Kareem, you need to hurry up, we have to work on some things. Like, she'd go to the classroom and come back because that would take her so goddamn long. But in reality, I just didn't like that class. I didn't like going. I hated it. I felt so, like, dumb. Like, I felt like I wasn't like the normal kids. Like, I didn't feel normal. Also during this time, I remember in math, I think this was in the 6th grade. Yeah, it was in the 6th grade, and all the 6th grade students, like all the 6th grade classes, we started switching classrooms with the same group of people, but with different teachers. So one teacher taught science, one teacher taught math, social studies, etc. And in math, my math teacher, he would have us do these multiplication timetable shits, and you have to do it under a minute. And you have to get at least half of the page done or the whole page done in order for your thing to be put up on the wall to see, you know, your accomplishment. And I hated that because I never got a chance to get up on that wall. Also, there was another instance in this class where he called me by another girl's name, and the girl's name supposedly sounds like my name. All she has is the first letter of my first name and then the last sound of my name. So like, I guess it sounds similar, but to me it don't sound nowhere near. But he called me by her name during one of the class times, and then two of the students that were in my class, they were like, ooh, he really trying to play her. He really trying to play her, talking about the other girl. And then one of the people that said that said, yeah, because you know what's her name is way smart. And I'm just like, wow, you know. But I could say for sure that the biggest accomplishment that I had in that elementary school, because it was an elementary school, that school was from pre-K to 6th grade. I don't know how other schools do it now, but that was my elementary school days. And I could say that the biggest accomplishment that I have ever done in that school was during my 6th grade graduation. The whole 6th grade class, they had to write essays on what they wanted to do after they got out of elementary school and just in the future. And I wrote my essay all by myself, and I asked my mother to, you know, check it and correct it, since she is an English teacher, and she corrected it for me, you know, got the mistakes out of there. And little do you know, my essay got picked for the 6th grade graduation so I could read it. And it was crazy because I would have never thought, you know, I wrote it and I didn't think anything of it, you know. I wasn't gonna win that shit. And mind you, I did. And I won out of like so many people. Like Peter, like he's by far, he probably was like the smartest kid out of the whole school. My friend, he was smart as hell. My other friend, she was smart. Like, they were all smart. And like, how did my piece get chosen? You know, that was just a big accomplishment for me. Like, I'll never forget that day. Like, it was crazy. So that was in 6th grade. That's all I can remember in the 6th grade. I went to 2 middle schools. The first one, it was a Catholic school, and I fucking hated it. I don't really see anything bad about that one. There was not much anything bad about it except like the freaking nuns. I hated the nuns, but the students were up to par. They was lit. Other than that, like, there wasn't much with my learning disability that like affected me there. Like, nobody, like, you know, treated me bad or anything. Like, because there was other students in there that had learning disability as well, and we also had resource, and the resource class was lit as fuck. Like, we like did games on the computer. So that was that. The other middle school I went to is when my mom moved me to a predominantly white area, in which I went to a predominantly white school. But little, like, honestly, like, low-key wasn't predominantly, like, there was hella like mixed race people, black people. There was hella people up in that shit. But in that school, I remember getting tested. I'm pretty sure I got tested in elementary school, but I remember I got tested, and when you have an IEP, or you know, if you're part of special education or you have learning disability, um, you get tested like with these weird tests. And I remember this one test consisted of blocks, and you had to match the blocks to the picture. So the picture would show like a white diamond, and then the background be like red, and those were the blocks, and then the blocks were also like red and white. So you would have to create the diamond and then get the background right. And that was the most hardest shit I've ever done. One of the hardest things I ever done was doing that. That was hard as fuck to me, and I don't know why, because I'm a very hands-on person, and like I hate how the school system is so fucked up. Like, because there's so many different ways of learning. You know, I catch on to dancing real quick. I catch on to art. I'm a very great artist. I haven't drawn in quite some time, but I have a lot of art pieces that you probably wouldn't even think that I've drawn. Like, you guys don't know that I've drawn. I could draw. Well, I could draw. But whatever. If you guys want to see that, I'll show you guys in another video if you want to see that. But yeah. And yeah, that was so hard to me. And there was another test in which you had to match the picture with the sentence being read to you, and that was pretty easy. That was, you know, piece of cake. But yeah, and I remember during that, in that middle school time, in that school in particular, in the resource room that I was in, I was with these kids, and they honestly did stupid shit. They weren't stupid, they just did stupid shit. So that also was very distracting to me, and I also get distracted very easily. So that was that. It wasn't that too bad there. But high school was a different story. I hated school all around, but you would never catch me missing a day, you know? I hated missing school. But anyway, in high school, a whole nother story, but it wasn't that bad either. Like I said, I had resource in high school as well. But the thing that pissed me off is they took me out of Spanish. I took Spanish starting from kindergarten. I actually started from pre-K, and I stopped when I got to high school. I don't know why. They told me that I couldn't do it because of my IEP, but I don't understand why, because I was able to do it my junior year, which they shouldn't have they just should have left it alone. And I had to fucking take language. I had to take Spanish in college, which probably set me back, I feel, because if I took it in high school, I wouldn't have to take a language in college. But whatever. So, yeah, that was that. I had to take, you know, I couldn't take a language like my first 2 years of high school. Also, I was a part of these two classes in which, well, the first math class I ever went to in high school, I realized that it was way too advanced to me, and even the teachers did. Like, I turned to my work, and I honestly just was getting like 20s, you know, and they told me that I need to join the other math course, and which I did. And this math course consisted of seniors, juniors, freshmen, sophomores, you name it, they was in there. So I was in that, you know, and I knew what it was for. And I also was in a science class. I also was in a chemistry class in which it did the same thing. I was in it with juniors, seniors, you know. So that was that. Those classes were actually fun though, but them kids, they just, you know, some of them kids, they just do things to get the attention they want to get because they don't get it at home. So, you know, that's understandable. Also, in biology, biology was the worst for me freshman year. I literally failed everything that whole year until the freaking Regents. And my mom and Kone worked so hard to like get me to study, which I did. But like Kone, I remember Kone specifically. If you don't know who that is, that's my twin. But Kalinde, like, she was at the living room table, like, trying to study with me, and nothing was clicking. She was getting so upset. Like, she was getting agitated to the point where she didn't want to do it anymore. And I'm pretty sure she did. But little do you know, I passed that region. And I passed by 1 point, but I still passed. And I didn't think I was going to. I thought I was going to have to repeat that class, you know? But, you know, God is good. In one of those grades, I think it was the 10th or 11th grade, I wrote this poem. The teacher asked us to do a spoken word poem, which I did. Nobody else did. I don't know why. That was an assignment. And I read it out loud, and she liked my poem the best. And if you guys don't know, like, the poem I'm talking about, go watch my poetry video. Like, that shit is lit. Like, I love poetry. Like, I write poems here and there. And when I do, they're lit as fuck. But, yeah. And the one thing that I'm always going to remember out of my high school experience with my learning disability is My guidance counselor, you know those meetings you have to have with your guidance counselor like every year, like maybe like 3 times a year, I don't fucking know. But one of those meetings, I was getting ready for college, so like you're signing up for colleges, you're looking into colleges. My mom was with us at the time too, and he stated to me and my mother that Kalina's best bet is to just go to a community college, which is the 2-year school, because she's not equipped. She wouldn't survive in a 4-year college. And little does he know, I went to a 4-year school, and nope, I didn't graduate within those 4 years, and I haven't graduated yet, but I was able to walk the stage just this past semester, and I thank God that my school has did that, because I'm not going back to what the fuck, but I was able to go to a 4-year school. And no, I don't have my degree yet. I'm working on that. I am taking 2 classes at the moment for this month, and I'm taking another class next month or during the fall. So I'm about to be on my grind to get that degree, because I'm not playing. And obviously, his name was Mr. Blind. He was my guidance counselor, and you know, I guess he was obviously too blind to see past my learning disability, which he was, because the fuck, I was able to go to a 4-year school and finish out, because I am going to finish out. Also in college, college wasn't too bad, although all the opportunities that I was given, you know, taking my test elsewhere, getting extra time, I didn't take it until my last semester of college, which I should have, because I could have done a lot better, and probably I could have graduated on time. But you know, it is what it is, because I felt so bad about myself. I felt stupid. I didn't want people knowing that I had learning disability. Like, I'm in college, you know. Why would I want, you know, I just didn't like it. But I came a long way. You know, there were incidents in college. I don't feel like talking about it, but it's not that big of a deal. I don't think it's worth talking about. But I came a long way with this learning disability, and I'm doing YouTube with it, you know. Who would have thought? You know, you guys didn't know I had a learning disability, but yep, I have a learning disability. And yeah, if you guys like this video, this second video of my series, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you guys can relate to this video in any way, shape, or form, if you guys struggled in school, whether you had a learning disability or not, if you guys didn't like school, if you loved school, leave a comment down below, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with another video soon. Thanks for watching.